your plant-based food coach here at plantpurity.com, and I'm excited to bring to you another great recipe. This one is called Salsa Molcajete. It's named after the mortar and pestle. This recipe was taught to me by my great friend Eve, who just completed my 4-week workshop at the end of January and is doing wonderfully on an oil-free, sugar-free, plant-based diet. She taught me some traditional recipes that her family makes. They're from Mexico, and this salsa is a very simple, basic recipe, but it's loaded with flavor because we roast the tomatoes and the jalapeno. Traditionally, it's made with 3 jalapenos to 1 plum tomato, and I'm making it with 1 jalapeno and several cherry tomatoes. I'm putting them on a non-stick baking pan. You could do this in your oven. I'm doing this in my toaster oven. It just speeds it up a little faster because it's a smaller oven. It's closer to the heating element. And I'm going to get these in the toaster oven. And while those are roasting, I want to show you my crispy corn tortilla chips. I've made these in a few other recipes of mine, but on video, but I just want to show you them again. I make them locally here in Chicago. We have El Milagro corn tortillas. They're delicious. You could also find at Whole Foods they make an organic corn tortilla, and they're a fresh tortilla. You want to look for tortillas that all they have is corn, water, and lime to preserve them. And I just cut them into pie shapes, 4s, lay them out on a baking sheet, single file. This is a great way to reduce calories in your diet by eliminating fried chips. And these are bottomless. Eat as many as you want. Eat until you're full. You're not going to gain weight from corn tortillas. They're a whole grain. Avoid the flour tortillas. There's tons of different ingredients in them that I can't even identify what half of the ingredients are. So I'm going to sprinkle them with sea salt, just lightly. You can skip the salt altogether if you're watching your sodium intake, but the amount of salt I put on here compared to bagged chips, it's like not even existent. And then I have a little spray bottle with fresh water in it, and I'm just going to spray the chips to get the salt to stick to the chips and melt. You could also just wet your fingertips and rub it on the chips to get the salt to stick if you don't have a spray bottle. I'm going to put these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. Keep a close eye on them because you don't want them to burn. You can also take these corn tortillas and just warm them in your toaster or your toaster oven, and that's my favorite way to eat them, and I just spread the salsa molcajete on them and just eat them as a snack. So while the tomatoes and the jalapeno are roasting, I'm going to crush 1 clove of garlic. This is fresh garlic. I'm using a garlic press. You could also dice this clove of garlic up fine and then put it in a bowl, or if you have a mortar and pestle. And then I'm also going to add some salt. Just a few pinches of salt. Let me get the tomatoes and jalapenos out of the oven. Okay, so I took my chips out of the oven. They're nice and crispy, as you can hear and see. And my tomatoes and jalapeno are all nicely roasted. See those here. And what I'm going to do is put my jalapeno on my cutting board. And these are really hot, so be careful working with them. You want to take off this stem and get rid of it. And then if you are not comfortable with spice, you could take out these seeds and this white vein here and that will make it much milder. I'm going to keep the seeds in just because I like the spice. And one jalapeno with seeds and the beans isn't that spicy to me. But you might want to just chop it up and add a little bit and taste it with the tomatoes and see how it goes for you. Traditionally, you put it all into the mortar and pestle, but I'm going to chop it up a little bit first because I'm making a little more than what would fit into my little one. And I use this almost as a serving vessel. The other way Eve told me you could do this, which her mom does, is take the back of a bowl and smash down the peppers and the tomatoes onto your cutting board or plate. So I'm almost smashing it with my knife here, just to make it finer. I'm going to put all of this here. And I have my salt and my garlic in there as well. And then it's still a little bit warm. Take the tomatoes out. Hot tomatoes. And these tomatoes are delicious served on top of hot pasta. You could add them to my no-fat Fredo sauce. They're delicious in that. Or just eat them with bread. So good. I'm just giving these a rough chop, and then I'm going to put them in. Just 4 ingredients in the salsa, but it smells so good from roasting the pepper and the tomatoes in my house and baking the tortillas. And this is a flavor unlike anything I've ever tasted. I've made a lot of different salsas and homemade like pico de gallo, but roasting the tomatoes and the peppers, it brings out such a great flavor. Warm tortillas and try this. And the peppers and the pepper and the tomatoes took about 20 minutes or so to roast, just to give you the heads up on that. It's so delicious. You would have to give this recipe a try. And remember, optimum health will be owned by those who eat an abundance of plants, so eat your fruits and veggies. Take care and best of health to you.